Rubio! Oh my God!
Rubio!
Your baby's name is Rubio!
Oh no, I didn't realize that.
Welcome to the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here is your host, your guide, your shining beacon of liberty, Marc Clair.
All right, guys, and we're back. We are back here in the Lions of Liberty studios. At least 2 out of 3 of us are, and we're not going to waste any time getting into things today because, well, we just watched a 2.5-hour Democratic debate, so we've already kind of wasted a lot of time. But this is sort of another edition of Libertarians in Living Rooms Drinking Liquor. It is our Democratic debate reaction show, and as usual, to my left, I have sitting with me in studio, what an honor, once again, Mr. Brian McWilliams.
That's Dr. Brian McWilliams.
Want to give everyone a short resume in case it's their first time tuning into the show? What have you done here? Why should we even be listening to you?
I have several forged doctorates, if you might have noticed from my doctor moniker. Otherwise, I write for the website. You might have read my RAND commentaries here, there, and everywhere. I write occasional articles now and then when I've got the time.
Well, you actually write it weekly, actually.
Yeah, I do write
that?
it weekly. That's a fact.
Every Tuesday at Lions.
I gotta keep pace.
Pluses and minuses.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm here back again to dissect this debate with you. By the way, since this is an LILDL, let me tell you what I'm drinking. It's become my customary beverage. It's a little something called Old Smuggler.
And because you left it in my house a month or so ago, I'm drinking it too.
All right, so, cheers to Old Smuggler.
Cool, cheers. And we are joining. This is actually a good crew here. Let's bring in Odie first. So from Pittsburgh, we got John Odermatt.
What's happening, brosifs?
Hey man, what's up, brosif? That's the one that we got to bring back.
Is there a sister version of Sistifs? A Sistef infection?
It's actually been a while since we heard from this guy because he's kind of been a little busy lately. He actually has been recently crowned a new father. Is that what they do? They crown you? Is that how it works?
Yeah, there was no crown involved.
No crown. Okay. Well, there was a crown
involved.
Well,
the baby crowns. The baby crowns unless you did a C-section.
Yeah. Actually, it was a C-section, so no crowning whatsoever.
That's better all the way around. Right. I was born via C-section. I was actually literally crapping at the time. It was like somebody kicked the stall door, and I was like, hello, there's somebody in here.
Wow, all right. Just like
That's
Hillary
amazing.
Clinton.
Just like Hillary Clinton with the Chinese busting the door down.
Maybe you guys will all get that joke later, but I doubt it.
You got to read the live blog of the debate.
Yes. If you watched the Democratic debate and read the live blog at lionsofliberty.com, which will live forever in infamy as long as the internet exists, as long as lionsofliberty.com exists, which will, I guess, be for eternity. I don't know.
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately.
As long as we keep paying for the renewal fees for the domain.
Oh yeah, if we can raise the $6.99 a year, that is, or whatever it is. Maybe it's $12, $18. I don't know. Odie, what are you drinking over there today? This evening?
So I'm drinking well, it's actually pretty late here on the East Coast, so I mean, it's you don't care what time it is. You're listening.
Trying to get a little sympathy from the crowd here for staying in, and while guilting us at the same time. I see.
But I just had some old birthday cake. It was pretty terrible. I feel a little sick, but now I'm going to wash that down with a little sweet water. But it's not the 420 this time. It's called Georgia Brown. So it's a brown ale.
Sweet water, Georgia Brown. Sounds great.
So you got to say it.
That's why I said it that way. Oh, all right. So I don't know about you guys. Actually, I do know about you guys, but I just watched a 2.5-hour Democratic debate.
Yeah,
so
it was a lie. We were
happened.
told they were cutting an hour out of the debate to make it shorter. That didn't happen. It was clearly longer than 2 hours, agonizingly so at times. But still, I would say I was entertained.
Well, were you? Because I wasn't.
I was entertained.
Well, you were like making Tom Yum soup half the time. So of course you were entertained. Is that the part you're remembering being entertaining when you weren't actually watching?
More than anything, I remember two things really clearly. Number one is Martin O'Malley is definitely a robot.
Okay.
And number two, Bernie Sanders' accent is hilarious.
All right. And this is shocking to me. Will probably shock you as well, Odie. Brian McWilliams here claims that he has never heard Bernie Sanders speak before until tonight.
You speak?
I haven't.
That's not possible. I don't think that's possible.
I was listening on the radio and I was like, who the hell is talking? He's like human climate change. And I was like, holy shit. You can't
terrible.
comment on anything. If you cannot pronounce the word human correctly, you can't comment on anything having to do with humans.
It's awful. I would, if he's elected president, I'm leaving the country, and it has nothing to do with his policies. I just can't stand that accent.
Well, look, as someone who grew up around a lot of New York Jews, because my family are Jews from New York, so that's why. I'm used to that accent. I've heard that accent many times.
How about a play?
So it wasn't as much, it's not a shock to my system. Plus, I've heard Bernie Sanders speak for years. I don't know how Brian could have never.
I read the excerpts, man. I don't seek out the videos.
All right. So then you're not a fan of the accent. I actually enjoy it. If I find it's something that kind of makes me feel like home again.
Like I said, it's entertaining. I thought it was funny.
All right. Only Odie will be moving. Where are you going to move if Bernie's elected?
I'm going to move to Scandinavia.
Are you going to stop being a lion of Scandinavia? All right.
You can't afford Scandinavia. Very expensive there.
Heard some good things about it. Good health care and paternity leave and all that good stuff.
Well, maybe we should institute all those policies. And Scandinavia is not a country, right? I just want to.
I know. I've been to. I'm going to move around.
You've been where? Okay, you're going.
I'm going to then go to Denmark. And
he's going to live a gypsy lifestyle. It's going to be fantastic.
Is Iceland part of Scandinavia? Maybe
no,
not.
Iceland's part of Iceland.
Well, of course it's part of Iceland. Is it also part of Scandinavia?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's technically part of Scandinavia or not.
I don't know. Should we play a game? How long?
Scandinavia is like Sweden and Norway and.
Let's look at this little map. Iceland is technically a part of Scandinavia, though it is quite a distance.
Very far. I'm shocked that it's counted. I mean, this ridiculous that it's even considered part of it.
This map is not to scale, by the way.
Can't be.
And no one can see it at home.
Enjoy this episode of the Lions of Liberty drinking.
All right, so did you guys see it from the beginning? I know Brian didn't. He was like drinking or something instead of watching the debate.
I was work drinking. It's important.
I started listening at 9, but it said I thought it started at 8:30, so I thought I missed the first half. But right when I turned it on, Anderson Cooper said, "And now we'll start the debate."
Yeah, it didn't really. There was like the promo package ran at 9 to like tell us we're at a debate, and then they do go to talk about what the debate is for a while. Then they go to commercial. Then they come back, and then they introduce everybody. Then they go to commercial again. So by the time they really got the thing going, it was like almost 9 o'clock your time, 6 o'clock our time. A bit of a format. I feel robbed when they tell me the debate starts at 5:30, and I got to sit through a half hour of garbage just to get to the meat. The meat of this thing.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
Yeah, I do want to call it that. So, what? I don't even know where to start with these guys. I mean, of course, they do the usual. All right, everybody, introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. And Lincoln Chafee's first up. He starts rattling off everything he's ever done. He's been a mayor, a senator, a governor, a Sith Lord, as I opined on the blog.
Did he mention the fact? I know that you get called out on later, but did he when he was going through the litany? Did he like I was a senator, but I was also First, I was a Republican senator. Then I was a Democratic senator when my poll numbers dropped, and I decided to switch teams.
Is that what happened? Is that why you switched?
That's totally why he switched. Yeah, he was running as a Republican, and then it was like, everybody's kind of going Democrat.
He went to the Senate as a Republican, right?
Right. He replaced his father in the Senate. I think his father died or something like that, and he was appointed to the Senate to replace his father.
And we should give Lincoln Chafee a minute, because the mainstream media is probably just going to write him off. But I don't know. He's a guy. He's interesting.
Yeah, bumper sticker Chafin for Chafee.
There you go. Chafin 2016. And,
that, of course, could mean masturbating, but I'm not.
It can mean a lot of things. We can leave that. We didn't need to say it, but whatever. And Lincoln Chafee is actually, I did not know this until tonight. I knew he had voted against the Iraq War. He was the only, I believe, senator to vote against the Iraq War. Does that make sense? Does that sound right?
I guess. It does not sound right to me, to be honest.
Well, what other senator voted against it? We're talking about senators.
Are we talking about the first Iraq War?
Yeah. No, we're talking about 2000.
You mean the first one? We're not talking about.
We're not talking about the Gulf War.
Desert Storm.
Desert Storm. Talking
not
about.
The only congressman, but the only senator to vote against the Iraq War.
I don't know. It still doesn't sound right to me.
It doesn't sound right, but it could be right.
It could be right. Who knows? It just sounds like almost impossible that could be correct. I mean, I guess it was so much pressure after 9/11 and but. Yeah.
He also did say, which I liked, that he is in favor of reforming Section 215 of the Patriot Act.
Not the only senator to vote, the only Republican senator is what I meant.
Oh, okay.
What I meant
that's a little bit more
to clarify.
sensical.
Okay. Well, yeah. Now he's a Democrat, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there was one Republican no vote against the Iraq authorization for the use of military force against Iraq resolution of 2002, and that was indeed Lincoln Chafee.
Well, there you go. So
he went against his party. I mean, maybe he was already planning the Democratic switch, and it was just like hey, I want you guys move. I don't know how far ahead he planned that, But or maybe he's. I mean, I actually do remember him being kind of against the war and pretty good on that from the beginning, because he was one of the guys saying they showed us all this info, they brought us into these rooms, but he was kind of whistleblowing on it, almost like saying like they tried to brainwash us and propagandize us into voting for war against Iraq. So that's something cool about him.
Yeah, he mentioned that a few different times. I was like, yeah, there were no WMDs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he was pretty adamant about that.
Pretty fired up about it, actually. And Bernie Sanders was also very fired up about Iraq. He went off on that. That was basically everybody's safety line, almost, like, to be against the Iraq war. Because at this point, it's so obvious. We all know. I mean, O'Malley was out there staring his death stare as he basically held the whole night.
Right.
And going on about how they lied about WMDs. And the only one who wasn't quite as fired up, and it's understandable since she voted for it, was Miss Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton.
Hill Dawg.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to more some of these other guys, the Chafees and Webbies of the world, but we can't avoid talking about Hill Dawg because, I mean, I heard the pundits are already saying she won the debate, she's the leader in this thing, and
I don't get that. I don't understand how they can say she won the debate. Honestly, of all the people in the debate, I like the best, and Mark won't agree, and I can't necessarily say.
How do you know what I'll say?
I don't. That's true. I don't. But I think of all the people that really kind of stood out to me, and even though I don't agree with a lot of his stances, I liked Martin O'Malley.
Oh yeah, you're right. I don't agree.
I know you don't agree.
I don't agree either. Yeah,
I thought he made a lot of good points. I don't agree with a lot of the banking stuff. I mean, look, I'm not going to agree with the majority of most of what these people say on stage. So you got to take this with a huge caveat. But I don't know. He came across pretty well to me. I found myself agreeing with a lot of different points he was making.
Like what? Name one. Name one Martin O'Malley point that you nodded your head and said,
"Oh God,
that guy."
I got to scroll through our live blog to find it, man. We just came.
Martin O'Malley is the Rudy Giuliani of the Democrat Party.
That was one.
Was
that one positive point you made?
No. How can you say he's
that's positive. We got some problems here.
Let's see. Who else?
This is so difficult to come directly out.
I think you might want to rethink your O'Malley position.
No, I'll never rethink it.
He's your man. He's your man for life.
Bernie Sanders, I liked O'Malley. I thought again, when I agree with, when I disagree
you said,
with
okay, here's another one. Martin O'Malley is locking down the robot vote in this debate.
He is.
All right. Another positive. I guess you're a big fan of the robot vote.
Look, when you disagree with everybody on stage, I'm trying to find things I agree with these people to give them some sort of positive
Here's
feedback.
one. I finally dug up a
there you go. Perfect.
positive comment.
That was
one.
I thought Bernie Sanders said it. Yeah, here you go. O'Malley is 100% right. The Iraq War was one of the worst blunders in U.S. history. Is that not wrong?
Gee, he's really edgy saying that in 2015, huh?
Hey, look, Hillary Clinton ain't saying it.
Got out in front of that one. That was really, really bold of him. Really
There's more. Just scroll through.
Do
you got
really
to highlight
keep up my control.
Yeah,
control F search for
keep
O'Malley.
control F.
Okay, this was good. I'm with you on this. Wowza. This is me being Brian McWilliams. Wowza. O'Malley breaking out the John Q. Adams quotes about going monster hunting. #points.
Yeah, there you go. He's talking about not
do your voice.
Not going all over the place. Not hunting down enemies abroad. That's a great point. I like it.
He was reading off a note card when he said that.
He was staring in a one direction the whole time.
He was. Yeah, I don't. Well, he was probably just processing.
He kept looking down at that point. He read that whole answer off a note card.
Odie, you do know that they bring note cards and they use those, right?
I know, but it's not normally so obvious.
It's like a pre-scripted line that he was waiting to pull out. Basically.
Yeah, he was waiting to pull it out. He had that quote queued up for himself. Of course, they read. I mean, they take notes. Someone else is talking. I mean, Ron Paul will do that. I remember you'll see him taking notes, and then he goes to have his rebuttal. Of course, he's going
to they'll jot him down.
What he's talking about, but yeah.
Anyway, whatever. I liked me some O'Malley compared to the field. I also thought Sanders I liked as well on some of his points. I liked his foreign policy quite a bit. He was pretty aggressive in saying.
I don't know. What did you like about his foreign policy? Because to me, he was just like, yeah, but hey, I voted for the Slovakia thing, and I wanted to bomb those guys when Clinton was for it. So to me, I didn't hear anything principled. I just heard, the Republican wars were bad. The Democrat wars, those are still good. We can do those.
He said he was okay with drone. He might not have said drone strikes, but he said he was okay with Obama bombing Syria. So I mean, I don't know. I don't
know. A lot of the foreign policy points that I liked that he was saying. It was about non-interventionist kind of foreign policy. Granted, he did have those couple of points where he was supporting his man, I guess, Obama. But He had a lot of points where he was saying, foreign policy, stay at home, don't start wars, don't, he hit on Syria saying we shouldn't have been involved with Syria, which I liked a lot. So,
wait, didn't he say it was okay for Obama to bomb Syria?
Yeah, he said it was okay.
I'm getting mixed messages
did.
here.
I don't think so. Again,
you were making tom yum soup at the time, I think.
Maybe I was, because I remember later on, I even live
pretty
blogged
good,
about
by the
it,
way.
saying he was hitting it on foreign policy. Anyway, what can I say? It's hard to live blog and make tom yum soup.
God, I need some more old smuggler.
Smuggle it out.
This is ridiculous.
Let's ask this question first. Quick poll.
You know what? I'm just gonna sit here quietly because I can't. It's too recent.
I want to hear Odie's
drinking.
question. The host is deferring.
So who was the best on foreign policy? The most libertarian, the best on protecting individual rights. Who out of the candidates was the best?
I don't even know how you quantify that, to be honest.
Well, you don't quantify it; you just talk about it.
Well, it's not Jim
right.
Webb. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, I have high hopes for Jim Webb on foreign policy, and he's not terrible, but he's not. He surprised me. I didn't know before that he was against the Iran nuke deal.
Well, he's
he
secretary in the Navy. He's a military man.
Right. Okay.
Now that doesn't mean that you're necessarily all for aggressive foreign policy, as we saw with Ron Paul. A lot of military personnel supported Ron Paul because he was so anti-interventionalist when it comes to foreign policy.
Interventionalist. That's like a George Bush interpretation of a real word.
Interventionalist?
It's
That's a word.
Interventionist.
Interventionalist.
You added an ul. Like
Look, I've been
existentialist.
drinking since 5:30. It is currently 9 p.m.
Why do you always have to let them behind the curtain and tell everyone what time it is? This could be any time. This show is recorded in between space
We're
time.
drinking at 6 a.m. here, folks, recording this podcast. They know we're doing it after the debate. How is there any confusion?
They don't know.
They
They don't know anything we don't tell them. How long after? Speaking of space and time,
Einstein.
so on stage, we
All right.
figured this out during the debate. We got Bernie Sanders, who is clearly, what's his name? Help me out here.
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown. Back to the future.
Yeah.
And then next to him, or a couple doors down, or he was right next to him, wasn't he? It's Jim Webb.
Jim Biff Webb.
Who is a spitting image of Biff. So we are slowly, seemingly building a Back to the Future movie.
We had one of our followers on Twitter tweet us
he's gonna get a shout out in a minute.
give him a shout
I
out.
don't know
Mo or
when, though.
something.
It might take me a while to find it though, since we got
at
a
this
lot of
picture.
retweets, a lot of
I was
action
impressed
tonight.
with his quickness on tweeting us a Biff and Jim Webb side by side comparison.
I guess it had to already be out there, right? I mean, it's not something
I don't know.
Put together. If he put that together that quickly, that's damn impressive.
People are vastly more talented than we are when it comes
Yeah, that's
to
true. It's
putting
probably
things
pretty
together,
easy.
especially on the interwebs.
Probably pretty easy.
Yeah, this is way down here. I've been scrolling down Twitter.
There it is. Mo Diggity.
Our man Mo Diggity. So hopefully you not just follow us, you actually are listening to the show because you're getting called out now. I don't know if he found this because it came pretty quick when you mentioned Biff, but he sent us this Photoshop that we will try to post.
Well, it's like when Fred Thompson looked like
It's gone.
What's his name? Zigo the Destroyer or something like that from Ghostbusters 2. He was like the exact
Oh,
spitting
he
image.
was. No, he was him, wasn't he?
Vigo the Carpathian.
I think no, he wasn't actually him. But yeah,
he wasn't. But he looked exactly like Vigo the Carpathian.
He did look exactly like him. All right.
Meanwhile, poor Lincoln Chafee looks like the Purdue Chicken Man from the commercials, and he acted like him.
I said this in our live blog, which of course you can follow for every debate, except the last one we didn't do one, but almost every debate. Do you know that it's weird how these debates are kind of spaced out? There's like half as many Democratic debates as there are GOP debates. Maybe not literally half, but I think there's like 5 Democratic debates and like 9 or 10 GOP debates.
Oh yeah. Well, you see that you hear about that one Democratic National Committee member who got banned from attending the debate because she was like, we need to have more Democratic debates. They're like, you're uninvited.
Yeah, but is that surprising? I mean, of course they're going to do that. They don't want people speaking out against it, and they have all the power.
They do, yeah. It's just so ridiculous. So it's like if it's a good thing to say, oh, I want my party to have more debates, though. It's like if she was like, this is too many debates, we should have no debates, make Hillary Clinton queen. That to be something you're like, what, maybe you're not for us, but to call for more is ostensibly a good thing.
I agree, but it's not a logical society we live in.
No, it is not. Back to who's best on foreign policy. Do we ever figure that out? I mean, Jim Webb seems like a reasonable person overall. So, like, I want someone who seems to think things through, in charge of foreign policy, I guess. But
as they say, I think I would feel most comfortable with Jim Webb's finger on the nuclear button out of everyone on stage.
You want it
probably
or don't?
Probably least comfortable with Hillary's finger on the button for sure. I would
Definitely.
would not want Hillary in charge of our well-being overseas and all that. But yeah, definitely. Bernie would be obviously much better than Hillary, of course. O'Malley, Brian seems to like him for him calling out the Iraq War
For his John
12
Quincy
years
Adams
later.
quote.
Yeah, he also called out Hillary on her flip flopping early. In
Oh,
the day.
another leading
I like
cutting
this.
edge.
I like this spunk.
I thought that he was just had this death stare. Like I guess he was like a lot of these candidates talk to like the camera because they're talking to the audience. They're trying to talk to the people at home. But O'Malley would like stare. I guess he was staring at Anderson Cooper. Like it was like he was talking directly through Anderson Cooper the whole time with this kind of death stare. It seemed to me. So I don't know. He seems kind of crazy to me.
By the way, reviews of Anderson Cooper. What do you think about Anderson Cooper, Mark?
Gotta love that man's glasses.
Odie, what do you think of the Coop?
I mean, I thought he was pretty well prepared, actually.
That was my joke answer. My real answer was I thought he did okay.
He did pretty well. I mean, like he was asking some hard questions, and he was like, "You didn't answer the question. Answer the question." Like,
Yeah,
he
he'd
was
be like,
pretty
in
good.
fairness, this question I asked was totally not what you just answered.
Right.
So, but he did it in the more political way. And I like that he got on Hillary a little bit more, too. He's like, okay, in fairness, Miss Clinton, but you are flip-flopping, like, all the time, pretty much. And
Yeah,
she's like,
certainly.
oh, well, and she played that I hate that card that, well, she says she's been principled her entire life and consistent her entire life. But as she receives new information, you see, this is my favorite
New
slash
polling
least favorite.
numbers is the new information.
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
my favorite, least favorite line that politicians use when they say, oh, but then I had new information, and they use it to justify literally anything, usually foreign policy, but it can be anything, gay marriage. I don't know what new information she got about gay marriage. Yeah, she learned new things about
she got a gay friend, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, because she used to be opposed to it. Most people don't realize that. She used to be staunchly opposed to it.
People should be allowed to change their opinions.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong, but it's just so coincidental
If you
that
saw
they
some of the
changed.
shit I was saying 10 years ago, it looked pretty bad.
Oh, of course. Oh my God. I won't even tell the people here.
10 weeks ago. Please don't talk.
No, but I mean, you're like, yeah, you should be allowed to change your viewpoint. But again, it's just coincidental that it only changes when it's like election time or it's politically expedient to change it in order to seek power. You know, it's never just an organic change with the Clintons.
Yeah, I mean, and the most recent one was the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership,
Right.
that she was. She was all, I can't even keep track. She was against it, and then
She voted against it 45 times and was touting it as the fact that she was involved in it. And I was talking to my boss earlier today
but
about
now
this, 'cause
she's
he's
against
a huge
it,
Hillary
right?
supporter.
But
And
she's against it now.
now she's against it.
She was for it originally.
Forever.
All
yeah.
for it. She helped negotiate it. And again, this is how Democrats can talk themselves into anything. You know, like any of us can rationalize.
Well, in fairness,
away.
Republicans do it too.
No, I
Let's
say
not-
any of
let's
us can.
not,
We all can rationalize it. But, saying, oh, well, but it just got disclosed, so she just found out all the information. I'm like, if she was helping to negotiate it, she probably knew a lot of it.
She was crafting the information.
Like, give me a break, I mean, come on, man. How deep do you have to dig the well to stick your head into?
2 feet?
Hey, let's play a fun little game for a minute. And as we mentioned, we had Lions of Liberty drinking rules for this drinking game rules for this debate.
Yep.
Let's just try to go down these and see what actually happened during the debate. All right?
Sounds good. Do it.
We may or may not be pleasantly surprised.
Until see if we can remember who brought it up.
These all came up in Brian McWilliams' mind, so he just thought of these things he thought he might hear, and we'll see if we heard him. So let's just check him off. Number 1, Hillary Clinton is caught touting a new position she was adamantly against previously. Yeah, what was it?
Ching!
Medical marijuana, right?
Medical marijuana, the TPP, of course, is another one. Gay marriage is another one. How about justice reform? And there's choose your own adventure. Really, there's 4 to 5 of them that come up at any point in time with Hillary Clinton where she's flip flopped.
Was tonight the first time she came out in favor of medical marijuana? Because I never remember her talking about that.
That's what I was asking. That seems crazy to me.
It totally was. At the time, I wrote the breakdown of Hillary Clinton for our presidential, Liberty breakdowns for every candidate.
We got to give Jim
the good,
Webb
bad,
one.
and the Liberty. Jim Webb needs one, and also there's a few that
And
need
maybe
one.
the Chafester.
Maybe the
He might have earned one tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, there are only 5.
Maybe
of them.
Martin O'Malley.
Yeah, that's yours, pal.
McWilliams is for O'Malley's.
That's why it's the Irish thing.
Hashtag.
That's why you're pro Malley.
I heard O'Malley's actually dropping out tomorrow.
Yeah, probably. Although there's O'Malley for Obama in the beginning. Everyone was making their O face. But,
I think that was a joke, everybody. So.
it was a joke.
Hey, Daubert, evidence some applause.
Thank you. Anyway, yeah, so medical marijuana. So Hillary Clinton, she had basically, every time she was asked about it recently, she gave like no opinion or like, oh, I have to consider it. Oh, I'm thinking about it. And of course tonight though, because everybody's for it now Hillary Clinton's for medical marijuana. So anything, it's just which way the wind's blowing, man. And she will go, she is a leap in the wind. She is a tag in the wind.
All right, so we can check that one off. Next one, anyone brings up the, incorrect, as Brian stated, need for more Americans to go to college. Ding, 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 ding. I think, well, at least Bernie and Hillary were both talking about that.
Oh, they were railing on and on about that. That's where this is one of the things I point out. Bernie's like, free college. And it's like, nothing's free, man. Like, what do you like to say free?
Love
like
is free, brah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't think teachers are getting paid in love. And if they are, I saw a movie about that called Easy A. So you can get arrested for that. And teachers.
What, for singing Bad Beatles?
No, for performing your job based upon the love you receive from your students.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Especially the younger kids.
It happens.
Yeah, so I mean, but it's like, wait, all that money's coming from somewhere. It's like, give me a break, free college.
Well, no,
bullshit.
It's going to come from the billionaires. He laid it out.
Don't mind all these hundreds of thousands of kids sitting around on their parents' couch having attended college with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Yeah, don't mind them when we don't have enough plumbers or electricians or regular blue collar workers because everyone's going to freaking college. But
just keep jamming that funnel. Keep jamming that funnel.
Everyone's going to college. They're getting out, realizing there's no job they're qualified for with their liberal arts degree, and then they live at home with their parents, and then they try to get minimum wage jobs, but they can't get those because they're getting crowded out of those.
Right.
Because people that didn't go to college are smartly learning the skills beforehand. Some of them, they're the ones becoming the mechanics, the plumbers, etc. And the people that are wasting their time in college, I mean, look, we had a good time in college. There are reasons to go, but the idea that everybody needs to go no matter what, even if they have no aims or goals or thoughts about what to do in life, well, that's just silly.
Well, the people that don't go to college are the ones getting the jobs. And, of course, by people, I mean robots.
Right.
Because they're replacing everybody that everybody instead of paying $20 minimum wages.
And you know why we're qualified to talk about this? Because we all went to college. No, I'm just kidding.
We did all go to college. What did it get us?
I'm still paying my student
loans. This
podcast.
podcast.
Yeah, this is where it got us, guys. Drinking and talking about stuff. Basically doing the same thing we did, some 12, 15 years ago.
Drinking old smuggler.
Only now
not even good whiskey.
Now we're recording it, and now we're blasting it out to the world. Yep. Hopefully more people are listening to us now than then.
Hopefully a lot of people in college are listening to us, and they're like, you know what? I am wasting my money.
I'm out of here.
Doctors need to go to college. The rest of you don't. I don't need to go to college for what I'm doing. I think it was a good time. That's about all it was for me.
In the TV industry, and I'd say about half of the people I work with are like me. They went to college. They might have studied video production. The other half didn't, and just learned everything that I do by learning it. The same way I learned
apprenticeship. Well, apprenticeship is something that has like disappeared because especially now it's like you have to pay minimum wage of $15. It's like who's going to take on somebody to have them learn the ropes at $15 an hour? And
then you have these Hollywood interns that were like suing for. They were interns, but then they went back and suing saying we should have been paid because we were doing things above what an intern should do and stuff like that. And it just gets all complicated. How about you just let people make whatever agreements they want with us?
Right, exactly.
How about that?
How about you're in an industry that's so desirable. There's 4,000 people that would kill to have the opportunity you have, yet you're whining and you're suing somebody now. Fantastic.
Exactly. Odie didn't make it in Hollywood. That's why he lives in Pittsburgh still.
I made it to California, but yeah.
You did make it.
Not really Hollywood.
You're still an hour. You're an hour out of town, though.
And that is where you had liberty sparked within you by myself and some whiskey.
True.
So
in California.
You were here for a reason. If you're one of those people that believes.
What did you name your kid, by the way?
Ruby.
Lion of Liberty Odermatt. Oh, okay.
Ruby Odie is her name.
Rubio. Yeah, she's a gem.
Rubio. Oh my God.
Rubio.
Your baby's name is Rubio.
Oh no, I didn't realize
that. Oh, you idiot.
We got a cold open, folks.
Oh God, I hope he wins now just for that. People will totally think you named your baby after him.
He will. Here's my baby. What's your baby's name? Ruby.
Oh, that's why I didn't run.
Because your ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's tough to. I mean, just ask Ross Perot. You can gain some traction, but it's tough to make it all the way with big ears.
Now here's a chart on ears.
Just a fact. All right, let's keep checking down this list. And I think all these might happen. Hillary references her time as Secretary of State.
Ka-ching.
Done. Jim Webb says he was in the Marines or Secretary of the Navy. Done.
Yep.
Someone opposes the Iran nuke deal. Yep.
Jim Webb.
Let's pause on that for a second, because to me, Jim Webb seems reasonable in many ways. He's talking about, it's ridiculous that we shouldn't be in Syria. Here's laying out some of the good reasons that it's true that the Syria thing is going on. But then he names one of the reasons as the Iran nuke deal. He's blaming the current actions of Russia going after basically what are some of our assets in reality, some of the terrorists that the United States has been arming and funding over the last few years to try to take down Assad. They sort of merged with what are these guys? ISIS? They have sort of merged with ISIS, many of them, so now they are the target of the Russian government, which is backing Assad. And he's somehow tying this into the Iran nuke deal, which I don't understand.
I don't either.
Because Russia's aligned with Iran, Russia's aligned with Assad, they're on the same side here. Nothing. He's saying maybe it strengthened Iran's position in the region. Therefore, I don't understand where he's going with it. It seemed to me like he was basically repeating a neocon talking point that this deal helps Iran get nuclear weapons, and looking at the facts of the deal, we broke this all down with Scott Horton, that is just not true. It's a blatant lie. So either he believes the lie, but I don't think he's that dumb, or he just, he's a little bit part of this military establishment that has to take a hawkish position against Iran, which is a little disappointing, because he came across to me. He still does come across to me in most other realms as one of the more reasonable guys, even on foreign policy. And as someone, I do like the fact that as someone who's been in war, he's got shrapnel in his knee, shrapnel in his head. You can tell he has injuries. I like to think he takes it a little more seriously than the chicken hawks that would just go to war for no reason. So I like to think he's serious and honest about his position. I don't understand his position on the Iran nuke deal at all. Did you understand that at all, Odie?
Well, he did admit to killing someone, which was
he did.
Kind of impressive.
Jim Webb killed a guy, as how he's noted.
I saw that.
He killed him with a trident.
But I think I missed. I don't know. I was taking care of a baby during this debate off and on.
You subjected your poor little Rubio to this?
Don't call it.
The only way she could fall asleep is by lulling the sweet sounds of Lincoln Chafee's
We're only allowed
voice.
to call her Rubio one more time in the show. Give us one more. We'll surprise you with it. Oh, that was it. Damn.
I still have one.
Okay,
I'm keeping it in my back pocket
Brian's
for later.
got one more. Okay, and so yeah, that happened. Anything about the Iran nuke deal we want to talk about more, or we talked about it enough on this show? We just don't get Jim Webb's position.
No,
is the summary of that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And I liked Lincoln Chafee on this, because Lincoln Chafee came and said, "I'm sorry, Jim, I respect you, but I don't know what you're talking about." He basically said what I'm saying. He's like, that's just not accurate. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm with Lincoln on this. I stand with Lincoln. Hashtag that. All right, Bill Clinton's name is mentioned. I'm not. Did Hillary? I don't know if it was.
I didn't hear it.
You know what? Maybe she didn't.
She referenced being Secretary of State.
I'm shocked.
She
that
referenced
she
her
didn't
executive
reference it.
experience vaguely, but I don't think she actually said "my husband, Bill Clinton."
That's amazing. That's amazing that his term was not mentioned.
Yeah, maybe she didn't.
That is amazing.
She's saving that for later. That's the big gun she's going to bring out when she needs to later in the debates.
Okay. Checking down the list. Someone mentioned student debt. That happened. Or did they just talk about the cost of college? They didn't talk about the debt, really.
Just talked about free college.
Yeah,
maybe they didn't. It's all tied in, though, because it's all tied in the same the cost. Well, they mentioned the cost of college education, so I guess it's kind of around the way kind of debt.
Yeah. Anyway. Anyone actually knows who Lincoln Chafee is without looking at their cue cards. Now, Lincoln Chafee was referenced by the moderator,
but
Anderson
no one
Cooper,
else.
But he had his cue cards.
Right.
Everyone else, did anyone else even talk to the guy?
I don't think anybody else proactively referenced Lincoln Chafee.
They responded to him, but they never said his name.
I don't think anyone said, "I agree with Lincoln." I don't remember hearing that.
No.
I don't think anyone said, "my friend Lincoln."
Chafee, I got a question for you.
O'Malley was like, "my friend Hillary Clinton." Jim Webb was like, "my friend Bernie Sanders," but I never heard of my friend Lincoln Chafee.
No, that's what I tweeted. It was seriously like he was just completely ignored. He was like, from the Milton Academy. Children should be neither seen nor heard. That's what it was like. It's Arrested Development. Nobody watches that show.
I do, but it's been like 10 years.
God,
I don't remember that.
We're not going to get these obscure references.
Idiots. I feel like I'm on the debate
All right,
stage
everybody,
talking to idiots.
Hey, everybody pause the podcast right now. Go watch all 4 seasons of Arrested Development. Come back when you get the joke.
Buster is hiding in plain sight.
press
It's
play
the
again.
whole thing. They teach you to be silent off to the side.
He did seem like he was kind of, he was literally off to the side. And then also, I mean, Jim Webb was kind of ignored a little bit, or at least he felt he was, because he was really getting into it with Anderson Cooper. He was doing this whole, he would talk, because it's true though. He had Hillary and Bernie going back and forth for 10 minutes, and then suddenly Jim Webb talks for his allotted minute, and Anderson Cooper's like, "All right, that's your time."
Thank you, Jim.
And he's like, "Thank you, Senator." That was his favorite line. That must have been said. Like, we should add that to the drinking game next time. How many times he'll "Thank you, Senator" or
"Thank you"? Yeah, I drink every time a "Thank you, Senator" or a "Thank you" whatever is said is a good idea.
Yeah, they were getting a little testy, Anderson and Jim. I sensed some tension there.
Anderson actually said to him, "Jim, you agreed to these rules."
Yeah, true.
I wonder if they tell him beforehand, "Well, you're going to get this much less time than everyone else." And
Jim, you agreed you would get like 10% of the time.
Well, it's like in the first GOP debate when Rand Paul was coming off the cuff, and then you could see in the second half of the debate, after they took a commercial break, he was much more subdued. Like they had been like, "We're going to cut your mic."
Yeah, and Jim Webb even mentioned something about equal time. He's like, "Oh yeah," he like kind of mumbled it though. He's just kind of like, "Yeah, I guess equal time." Yeah, he's just like, "Screw these guys." He did seem to get like more towards the end though. His aggressiveness seemed to actually work.
Yeah.
Whereas Lincoln was just kind of like, "Hey." And I really did enjoy skipping ahead a bit. This is not a chronological recap, in case you guys didn't notice. I loved Lincoln's like last little like hoorah. Like he finally started to get a little excited when they did the closing statements, and he's like, "'Cause I was mayor and I was governor and we can do it."
Yeah.
And it was just like, woo! I was like, all right, a little fire from this guy.
Who was that Democratic candidate that got all fired up at a rally and was like, "Ah!"
Oh yeah, that was Howard Dean.
Was the best. Howard Dean. Oh, he was the best.
I love that. I actually supported. I didn't like campaign for him, but I liked Howard Dean in that election cycle.
I didn't.
And that was
Howard
2004.
Dean
That was
before.
before.
Yeah, he was all right.
Yeah, that was 2004. That was before
Until
I was.
yeehaw. That one yeehaw just tanked his campaign.
I don't know if I would have classified him myself as a libertarian. I was definitely like leaning in that sort of direction. I don't think I thought about it philosophically, but I was definitely like hated John Kerry and all the establishment guys, and he was the one guy that seemed like, all right, you're not that bad. You're like against the Iraq War and all that stuff, which Kerry became against, of course, eventually. But yeah, I voted. What did you guys? Let's take a little poll. How did you guys vote in 2004? I think I can probably guess all your answers, but let's see.
I voted.
Let me see if I'll get. You say it, and I'll tell you, and I won't lie if I was right or wrong.
All right, I did vote for Kerry.
That's what I thought. Odie.
I voted for W.
That's what I thought.
Ah, you idiot!
I have both you pegged. I voted for the Libertarian candidate, Michael Badnarik, the first time I ever checked the L box.
Go ahead, throw your vote away.
Because that was when I became so disillusioned with my choice between Bush and Kerry, and that's what got me thinking. And I don't even know if I knew that much about libertarianism. I know that they seemed better, and I was just like not going to vote for one of those two. I was just determined. It was either that or don't vote. So.
I agree the Libertarian candidate would have been better. I hated Bush after what had become of Bush in the 4 years after his first presidency. I hated him so much that I could not stomach voting for him again.
Yeah, but
so
Will Ferrell impressions. 4 more years of Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
impressions.
the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it can't.
I actually just had a flashback now, talking about 2004. So I'm in college at that time.
Acid flashback. You're still in college then?
Yeah,
Man, way
yeah.
older than you
So-
are.
Yeah, he's 2 years behind us.
So I forget, I was in the fraternity house down in the basement. I forget what we were doing down there, playing some drinking game or something.
Most likely.
Most likely.
Not much has changed. Now we're just playing a drinking game we're still playing a drinking game with the Democrat debate.
And I remember coming upstairs, and there's a bunch of people watching the election results roll, and I think it was for the overall election, Kerry and Bush. And Dom Sidoti, the snake, is sitting there all pissed off and angry because George Bush was winning.
The fourth founding member of the Lions of Liberty. This is actually quite a crew. We've got
Another
3 of the
Milton man.
We've got 3 of the 4 founding members of Lions of
Disappeared.
Liberty here today, and the 4th is Dom Sidoti, who you just mentioned. So, little history lesson for you newbies. We can maybe link to some of our old podcasts where we discussed how we all came together. Maybe.
I'm barefoot right now in the recording studio here, and I can feel.
Why are you telling me that?
Well, I'm going to say because I can
right
feel
next to me.
the dog hair, a clump of dog hair between my toes, and it's kind of disgusting, but kind of lovely.
Oh boy, man. We have gone off the rails already. Only took 38 minutes, guys.
There's no way I'm not going to finish my cake now after that.
Speaking of going off the rails.
Old cake sounds way worse. All right. Just a couple more we'll take off.
Taxes on the rich. That was
obviously,
definitely. Every time they wanted anything funded, Hillary Clinton said it 5 times. Tax the rich.
That's the solution for everything. You just tax the rich. And they always say tax billionaires, but the top tax bracket doesn't really start at billionaires.
Right.
Guys, in case you're wondering.
Oh, it's like 150,000.
Yeah. So FDR or the New Deal is referenced. Hillary Clinton got this one. She referenced how she wants a New Deal.
Yeah, they always love that line. A New Deal, yeah.
And, of course, candidates calls for a raise to the minimum wage, which, of course, I think more than one did, but Bernie Sanders definitely did. I think O'Malley did as well.
Hillary Clinton got in on that train, too. She's like, yeah, we should raise the minimum wage. She didn't say anything specific, but yeah, she was in there. Yeah, she was all.
Odie, you had a good comment on our live blog. You said, "Why is Bernie
20?
Sanders?
Yeah, why not 20, you cheap bastards? Why 15?
Such a cheapskate? Why not 25?
Yeah.
Why not 100? That would really help people even more, wouldn't it?
Yeah, let's make everyone rich if it's that easy, right?
If everybody made $100 an hour, no one would have to work.
Oh yeah,
wrap your brain around that.
No one would ever be poor. All we have to do is keep. I think it's so illogical. Oh yeah, no, we'll pay people more, then no one will be poor. It's like you realize that. As the prices go up, that people can afford the wages, like everything else goes up, it gets more expensive, right? That's called the free market.
Where's this money coming from?
And also exactly, where's the goddamn money coming from?
It's the seen and the unseen. What you don't see are the jobs that never come into existence because it costs so much to get. And what about this paid leave thing? Now, this is already a thing in California, but I mean, Bernie wants to. This sounds on the surface like if you're just someone who's not immersed in politics and you just kind of. Maybe you watch the debates and then you kind of vote based on whatever you end up thinking, but you don't really think about things too deeply, which probably is most people. Mm-hmm. But, it sounds reasonable. Like, yeah, of course you want... And Bernie says, we're the only country, the only developed... Or he kept using the phrase, like, major country, and, like, I don't know where the line is. Of
advanced...
he would say the only advanced country that doesn't have, like, universal health care. It doesn't have universal paid leave. Like, I don't know. There's, like, 20 countries that do. So I don't know what, like, advanced countries where he's drawing that line anyway. But it sounds on the surface like, yeah, of course people should have paid leave and should get to take time to raise their child and all that. And yeah, I think people should raise their child, but that's not what he's saying. He's actually proposing a law where a business must provide X amount of weeks of pay to employees to raise a child, and that's a different thing from saying someone should do something. It's this whole thing where you have to people run to the government for everything they want to see in the world. But I mean, if you have a new business and I'm, let's say lionsofliberty.com, I can't afford to give you guys paid leave. Odie's on unpaid leave right now. Can you guys believe that? From lionsofliberty.com.
In fact, I'm always on unpaid leave, but I'm actually...
Well, that's a different point altogether.
Well, you're just not on leave. You're just usually not paid.
Just unpaid.
The point is, a benefit that a business gives you, whether it's done in forms of salary, in forms of agreed upon paid leave for certain situations, of unemployment insurance. Of course, that's managed by states, but in a different world, that could be something else offered by companies. Sort of a guarantee against losing your job of X amount weeks of pay. These are all ways that companies can eventually compete and try to get the best employees over. But when you mandate it across the board, now you're really hurting smaller businesses that are just trying to struggle and get anyone to work for them. Like the startups that are just trying to get people in there that don't have much behind them, that are maybe offering their employees, future stock options or what have you. They don't have anything to give right now. They're just growing. You can't guarantee someone 8 weeks off if you don't have, you don't have profits coming in. So on the surface it sounds reasonable, but
it's not only that. It's also the time. Anytime okay, this person's going to be out. Now you have to spend man hours doing research, hiring somebody else that's going to replace them. It's doubtful you're going to find somebody that can come and sub in to replace that person unless it's kind of a low-level job. If it's something higher up and you're a small business, yeah, you got to find somebody in a short amount of time to replace them that's going to do the job in the same way. Impossible. Because no one's going to take that job that's only going to do it for 8 weeks and be gone.
And then what if a company calls, hires a new employee, spends all the time and money it takes to search for and hire an employee and bring them aboard, and then the next week they say, oh, hey, I'm pregnant. Actually, or even worse, I just found out I'm pregnant. I'm actually 4 months pregnant. guess what? Or whatever. Maybe that's ridiculous.
Well, you got to have the baby to get the time.
Right. I'm saying, but they could hire an employee, not realize that suddenly they're on the hook for months of their vacation when they've barely been at that company, barely contributed anything yet.
You could hire those people that have toilet babies, and who knows? And then boom, toilet baby.
And look, most companies do have paid leave.
No,
most major companies do have paid.
Well, most
paternity,
have, I think mostly or all at least have paid leave, maternity leave, but not many have paid paternity leave. I didn't get any extra paid paternity leave outside of my regular paid time off or vacation and holidays.
Well, that's a damn crime. We got to get Bernie in there to fix that.
Yeah, but I think people, people's hearts are in the right place. I think it's a good thing that people, mothers want to be home with their children, to raise their children after they're born. That's good. Yeah, but going to try to get the government to initiate this change is the problem. I think I wrote an article, probably maybe when we were in the old format on the old blog on Blogger about.
Wow, that's way back.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll try to find it to put it in the show notes if it even exists, and I might have just written it in my mind.
Everything we've ever written.
Little Rubio was just a twinkle in your eye back then.
Yeah, that's true.
He used it. All right, we're all done. It's banned.
It's the perfect time.
I can't even say what's banned.
It talked about I'll just real quickly that sort of how the devaluation of currency in the Federal Reserve by the Federal Reserve has made it more necessary for families, for both the father and mother, to work. So that's more children going to daycare, and has led to this experience where the mother can't stay home. They have to work. They have to get paid leave. So rather than addressing one of the problems causing that, i.e. the Federal Reserve, people look to another form of force, another form of extortion or coercion to solve the problem. So I think people's hearts are in the right place. And that's where Republicans drop the ball. They'll just they'll say it's not economical. It's not. But
they'll dismiss it altogether.
Yeah, you need
dismiss the
to,
concept.
People have a point. I mean, I think there's a point here, but we're missing the solution.
Yeah, and that's what is annoying about not just Republicans, but what I might call vulgar libertarians. This is a Konkin term. He used the term vulgar libertarians to describe libertarians that they act as if we live in a free market economy all the time. And they say, oh yeah, I'm just against the minimum wage and it's fine. Like, I'm against it too. But they just act like, everyone that isn't working is lazy and a piece of crap, and they don't acknowledge that there are inherent things within the system that keep a lot of people from being able to work and make their own keep and that sort of thing. So that's one thing that turns me off about most Republicans. Yeah.
Is that a slow clap?
I was actually
It
was me tapping my chapstick against my desk, but it sounded like I was slow clapping myself. So.
It's not a chapstick, it's a Carmex.
Well, what's the difference?
Carmex?
Lip balm. Chapstick. Whatever.
Cherry Carmex.
Anyway, oh yeah, here's one thing I wanted to bring up because it's just God. All right. Has there been a worse question ever asked at a debate than do Black Lives Matter or do all lives matter?
Yeah, it's idiotic.
What does this question even mean, guys? Anybody know?
Why did they just say, "Are you racist"?
Right? Yeah, because that's the thing. It's a trap. It's a trap question. It's like asking, when did you stop beating your wife?
Yeah, it's more like how long. Tell me how racist you are.
Right?
Why don't you lay that out for us?
Because the logical answer, I'm sorry, would be, well, clearly all lives matter, and everybody should have equal rights under the law, and every life matters on the equal playing field.
It's not an either-or proposition. Yes, all lives matter, and within all lives is Black lives.
Right.
No, but look, there is something to the Black Lives Matter movement, like in theory, like the addressing of the injustices in our system, in our quote unquote justice system. The fact that minorities are disproportionately targeted by law enforcement when it comes to the war on drugs, when it comes to a lot of things. I talked to Michael Wood, a former Baltimore police officer, and he came in and laid it all out. He talked about how they're told to go after 18 to 34 black males. They're told to look for that because that's who commits the crimes.
And also you got to keep the prisons full.
And you got to keep the prisons full. And of course, if that's who you're looking for, and if whites and blacks have drugs in about equal amounts, which is true statistically, but you're only looking for the blacks, well, that's who's going to wind up in jail, and that's what's happening in our country today. So that's where it's kind of what you're saying just now. Their hearts are in the right place in a lot of ways, but it's not that Black lives matter and then other lives don't. It's that all lives matter, and it's when we're disproportionately targeting one group, as blacks are in many ways still, that's something that needs to be addressed. It needs to be called out. But it doesn't make other lives matter less, at the same time. So I don't know why this is even an or proposition.
It is funny just to piggyback on what you were saying. And it's also, you look at crime rates, right? And they'll say, oh, well, crime rates are much higher in these areas where there might be African Americans or black people. But then, to your point, those crime rates are probably higher because they're more prevalently, reported by the cops who are then targeting that specific, sector or that specific racial type to go after them. So it's like an artificially inflated statistic that crime would be up in certain areas or in certain racial demographics because of that exact targeting. Like you said, if you're looking for something that hard, you're going to find it. And when you find it, you're going to report it. And then, of course, the numbers are going to go up. And, we got to keep cracking down on this because this is where the problem is.
All right. I'm going to give you a Carmex slow clap.
Thank you.
For that rant.
Thanks.
Odie, any other points you want to make sure we hit here? I know that, Matt, they'd spent like 10 minutes about climate change, asking what the president would do about climate change. Odie, I'm curious, how much of an effect do you think the president can have on the climate?
Well, let's see. So Barack Obama's been president for 7 years. Has he had any impacts on the climate?
If you believe that government and policies such as that do affect the climate, then he must be responsible for any hurricane that's happened since then, right?
It's
or lack thereof.
Tsunami, tsunami, he did that too, I guess.
I'm not one of those people who's saying, definitively that humans haven't. There's no way we've caused any climate change. I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, it's a freaking huge world.
Well, Bernie Sanders is sure though. He's 100% positive. 100%
he said,
sure. The climate is changing. Of course it is. It always
Democrat is. Yeah.
And humans are responsible, and we must pass laws to change it.
Right. Yes, and the United States president is able to fix the entire world of all of these so-called issues and pollutants that we've talked about sovereign nations before and things like that, and without getting into the wrong or right time that the United States should intervene in a individual rights violation situation in another country, but that's a tough one. I mean, if we're not even doing it right here, framing the argument around property rights, the climate change argument around the regulation of property rights. So until we get things right in this country, I don't see how we can go around telling other countries how they should be managing their energy manufacturing.
Sure. I mean, if there's provable pollution coming from a provable source, then that should be prosecuted, no matter if it's in a different country or within our own country. But this is not what they're talking about here. They're talking about this very vague theory that specific amounts of carbon dioxide are causing specific things that are negative, and that they have specific solutions to actually affect the climate in a different way. And I'm sorry, that's no matter what you think about the science. I mean, you can debate the science all day long. The proposals have nothing to do with science, and that's right. The problem. Carbon trading has nothing to do with science. It's crony capitalism. These emissions limits have nothing to do with the things that they're even trying to address or pretending they're trying to address.
Right. Well, especially the carbon credits. It's like all you're doing. There's still the same amount of pollution's going on. Yeah, you're just sliding it around. So what's the fucking point of it? Oops. Oh, I'm cursing.
First S-bomb.
What's the
allowed today.
Point of it?
It's allowed nowadays.
Yeah. And also, we talk about the science.
Ever since the Johnny Adams show, cursing is just whatever.
Yeah, no.
There's no point.
That show was awesome, by the way. I highly recommend listening.
I hope you didn't listen to that around your young daughter, who I won't name.
She heard every word. Little
That was a good show. He was fun. But like this.
They gave us a good shout out on the Johnny Rocket Launchpad. They spent about 5 minutes talking about that show on the latest edition. You guys should all listen to it.
Oh, sweet! I got to check it out.
Yeah, you should.
I haven't had a chance.
And now we can reciprocate and give them
minuses.
We can give them a shout out now too. Please listen to the Johnny Rocket Launchpad. The show's awesome. Every episode is basically libertarians in the living room drinking liquor. They drink the whole time. They have a blast for about 2 hours a week. So
I still think we should go up there and do a live recording.
They actually mentioned that on the last episode. They said it would be awesome if we just all got together and did like a live show. So maybe we should make that happen.
Yeah, I've never been to Seattle.
Oh, do you want to take a trip to Seattle with us?
Probably not, but we should
you, Rubio.
Massive live libertarians in living rooms drinking liquor at the Republican convention in Rico's apartment.
Oh, yes, with the launch pad and Lions of Liberty. Yeah, it's in Ohio.
You totally should do that.
Were you not on the podcast where we planned this out? You might not have been, actually.
No, I don't think. I missed
And
one.
you clearly didn't listen to it either. Wonderful.
No, I usually do listen to it. I don't know. Well, there's been a lot of podcasts.
Probably listen to it while making tom yum soup and half paying attention.
That's right. And live tweeting debates.
Oh, boy. All right, anything else we got to hit on this thing? Should we look at these?
How about...
They talked about the financial stuff for quite some time, actually.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about the Wall Street CEO stuff.
And I never heard the term. Odie, what term do you think I was looking to hear that I never heard about the phone?
Crony capitalist?
That's true. I did not hear that. But I also didn't hear the term Federal Reserve either.
Yeah, didn't hear that either.
How can you talk about the financial issues in a nation without talking about the cartelized bank that issues and controls the whole currency? How can that conversation exist?
Especially Bernie Sanders, the populist that he is.
Yes.
Does he just not understand it at all whatsoever?
If you'll recall, Ron Paul was trying to get him on board for Audit the Fed, and Bernie Sanders bitched out at doing that.
Have you ever seen this video? Ron Paul actually made a video, and I'll post this in the show notes, basically calling out Bernie Sanders for chumping on his Audit the Fed bill. They were working on it together, but then when it got through committee, Bernie kind of defanged it a little bit. And I'm not going to pretend to remember all the details right now, because I just got through a 2.5-hour Democratic debate and I'm drinking Old Smuggler. But I will post that video in the show notes.
I wonder if there's some sort of underlying donor thing there where he's getting some money from.
Maybe. He claims he takes no corporate money. And
Well,
he has no super PACs like giving him money.
Huh, interesting.
He probably has just a random assortment of,
that means,
moon children
what
or
he's
something
doing.
like that, random cults.
He's doing it the old-fashioned way. He's meeting guys in parking garages and getting briefcases full of cash.
God, wouldn't it be great if Bernie Sanders was selling coke underground and that's how he's financing his campaign?
That's why his eyes are so huge
that's
all
why
the time.
his hair's never combed.
He always looks like he just woke up.
Totally. He had his hair more normal today.
But woke
than
up
I've
like
ever
really
seen.
excited about the day. Like he's awake, but his hair's like crazy.
What if he was only 40, but he had been scared to death by something, and that's why his hair is so crazy white, and he just looks like shit.
He's just very frightened.
How many times
he looks like a
was he asked
barracuda.
a question and he responded, huh? What?
Yeah, I know. With his head up to his ear.
What'd you say?
Give him one of those old tin horns and put him up there. What's that?
All right, we got through most of the initial drink anytime points in our drinking, but we'll post this again in the show notes. lionsofliberty.com/. Do you guys know what episode this is? I didn't say it, so let's see if you guys know.
I'm gonna say it's 151.
Oh God, so disappointing.
158?
It's not far off. What really? You guys?
No, that's way off.
It's episode 149. We haven't even hit the 150 milestone.
Man. You know what? You know why? Is because I'm ahead because I send you those.
You're ahead? You're listening in the future?
I create the photoshops.
Oh, so you know more.
I send you those images and I know that there's coming up, so I'm counting them in my head.
That actually would make sense because you have done two ahead.
Yeah.
All right, he might have a point. Odie, you have no excuse.
I can't read numbers. So.
But you have new baby craziness
numbers.
syndrome excuse. You have no idea about time and space right now.
Yeah, that's.
So we got an excuse.
One more thing I just want to say, I'm disappointed. Here's my biggest disappointment is that I really, really thought Hillary Clinton was going to lapse into her southern accent, especially with like the Black Lives Matter. Every time she talks about socialist issues or like anything, if she's campaigning in the South, she's like, "Let me tell you something. I love me some peoples.
I love pancakes and I love good old folks.
Who wants free college? Say yeah." Like, it's that ridiculous, and I was sad I didn't hear it.
I've seen the comparisons. It's freaking
it's
retarded.
just
But it's not retarded. I don't want to
insulting.
I'm just expecting her to be like riding, what's it called, a bull riding? Like, put a bull riding competition.
Oh my God, remember that Hillary Clinton, was it Hillary Clinton commercial we saw that somebody made? It was like, Hispanics for Hillary. Oh, yeah. That I posted ages ago, and it was just,
I'll find it, and I'll post that in the show.
I gotta find it. It was like a guy riding a bull and he was playing a guitar singing about Hillary Clinton. It's so bad.
I do recall this. It is humorous. Hillary Clinton.
Oh, that was great.
All right, I think we've talked about this enough. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree.
Let's do another hour.
All right, screw it.
Bump another
We're
hour.
doing it live.
I'm gonna live tweet the recording as we're doing it.
All right.
Make some soup.
It's only now. We'll do another hour. We'll do another hour in about 2 weeks when we have another Republican debate. So stay tuned for that towards the end of the month.
How many people are going to be in that one?
I don't know. We've got nobody booked right now.
as we just talked about, the polling. The polls said
I thought you meant on our show.
No. I mean, who's going to be on the debate stage?
Oh, I don't know.
Cruz
Rand
out?
Paul.
Rand Paul probably won't be.
No,
he probably won't be? I thought he probably will be.
His poll numbers are up. He's above Cruz. I mean, if Cruz is up there,
well,
Rand
it depends on if they change the
Cruz.
It depends.
No, he is.
That's just in the one debate, though, not in the overall that they look at.
Even in the overall, I think he's pulling above Cruz. Cruz is like 2.2 right now.
I don't believe you.
And Jindal's, toast.
Yeah, I thought Cruz was up around like 5%.
For the last polls I looked at, he wasn't.
Okay.
We should do this in real time.
Well, because I read that they were talking about, like, instead they're not limiting it to 10, but they're going to have less than 10 likely now because they're changing it so you have to have 3%.
You know what
so
they should
if
do with
less
this
than
thing?
10 are at 3% above, and he's not, but he was at like 2.5, so they're saying they'll round up. So anyone that's at 2.5 really will be in the debate.
I want to see them do it with they should just use the set from Hollywood Squares.
Yes.
And put them in the big box together, and if 3 people agree on, like, hey, we should all go to war with Iran, you get 3 X's in a row and you win the prize.
Bobby Jindal to block. Oh boy. Hollywood Squares was a great show, guys. Maybe I'll link to a Hollywood Squares clip too for all the young kids that don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Celebrity ones with like Whoopi Goldberg in the middle.
It's going to be the most obscure show notes ever. I can't wait.
It really is. Some people would say I resemble Shadow Stevens with my current hairstyle. Some people. Just me.
I would just say you look like a douchebag with a ponytail.
It's not a anyway.
Speaking of ponytails,
it's in a ponytail right now.
Lincoln Chafee growing a little ponytail there. Did you guys see that?
A little pony pooch.
He's growing like just a tail, like
a rat tail from the 80s.
The kind who grew in like 8th grade.
Like the cover of Kid Nicky, the video game that no one will get that reference, but you should post in the show notes.
You got to send me that because I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Look it up. Kid Nicky. It was like a ninja, but he was like a ninja. It was like a guy with a rat tail, and
you can find the most obscure show notes of all time by heading to lionsofliberty.com/149 because this is the 149th episode. The 150th episode will be this coming Monday, where I talk to Mr. James Guzman, who is in the live blog tonight, checking us out, even though he chastised me for our coverage of the... No, he didn't really chastise me. That's not true. He just said that people, obsess about the election too much. And that's true. They do. But we do it so we can mock it.
Exactly. Hey, everybody's talking about it.
I will be interviewing James Guzman on Monday for episode 150. He's a great guy. We're great guys because we sat through hours of this just for you guys. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're still tweeting our tweets and checking out our live blogs and checking out our drinking games and enjoying this ridiculous ride with us. Because, I do a lot of serious interviews and I cover a lot of serious topics. But to me, the heart of the show is when we can all just get together and kick back and just reflect on the absurdity of it.
Yeah, try to remember correctly things that are said in the debates.
And, no, we don't try for that very hard.
I'm not very good at.
And tune in on Monday, folks. Episode 150. Until then, guys, why don't we sign off? I think it's about time. Until next time, guys, live long and
live free.
Okay, seriously, who's your guys' favorite? Chafee?
Martin O'Malley.
You were serious about that?
No, not really. I don't know. I have no idea, man. Bernie Sanders, I don't know.
Feel the burn. If I had to put a gun to my head, vote for one, I'm voting for Bernie Sanders.
Really?
I agree, but here's the thing. It's like Ron Paul. He had certain points where people were like, "That's crazy talk," like eliminating the Department of Education. It's the same with Sanders. If we're gonna play fair, he's got some crazy crap that'll never happen that we don't like. So some of the stuff that I do like probably could happen.
Yeah, no, he's better on the stuff that could actually happen. That was my argument in my presidential profile, which Brian never read.
Yeah, and I gotta say,
tomorrow.
I definitely disagree with you when you wrote that, but I think I'm starting to come around.
Well, everyone comes around to what I think eventually.
By force.
Eventually.
By coercive force and taxation, just like our government. Mark taxes people until they agree with him.
Exactly.
By the force of the government.
All right, guys. We'll talk soon.
See you later.
Say goodnight to Rubio.
Bye, Ruby.
Peace.